What are some major red flags with online dating? Hi, everyone. Welcome to Just Between Us, where we say what you're thinking, but you probably shouldn't say out loud. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Tiffany, and we said what we said.
So, Tiffany, today we're going to talk about red flags with online dating. So, have you ever done any online dating?
Yes, and
Yes.
I'm done with it.
You're done with it.
I'm done with it.
Yeah. I think everyone in 2026 has done some online dating. I think that's more like normal nowadays. It's kind of weird, but it is the normal way to meet people. I remember in the 90s, I was going to a bar, you met them at work, school, through a friend, which is wonderful to meet people online because then you get to see them in person. You can see there's actual chemistry, what they actually look like. There's no filters, there's no angles, lighting, no photos from high school and they're 40 years old. Like you see them in person so you can see if there's chemistry, but online, people can hide a multitude of untruths. And so that's what we're going to talk about today is red flags for online dating and what are things that are just a no-go for you in general. So some red flags in dating. So the very first one is when they don't have a photo on their profile. To me, in 2026, there's just no excuse for not having a photo. What do you think about the no photo?
I'm kind of waffling on this because absolutely there should be a photo, but also just because there's a photo, it doesn't mean that that's who it is.
True, but the people who think that they're like James Bond, oh, I have to keep myself very private online and I can't share my photo. To me, that means married.
To me, yeah, me too.
There's
That's a
something
married man.
weird about 2026 that they can't share a photo, so that is a red flag.
Yes.
A second red flag is if they just have a professional looking photo, like something they would have for LinkedIn. They just have like
Okay.
a business photo. Again, that could be a stock photo, but just the professional looking photo to me is kind of another red flag.
One thing you can do if that really is an issue is
Yeah.
a reverse image search. Screenshot it, do a reverse image search, and you'll find out if that is tied to some sort of stock image or if it's
Right.
tied to a LinkedIn account.
The other one I don't like is the group photos where you don't know who it is. There's like 10 people in the photo or two guys in the photo, or my favorite, they're always wearing a baseball cap or a cowboy hat and you don't know if they have hair. Now, look, I'm not shallow, but that's burned me before. I think if you're going to be online dating, you should be honest, full body shots, be who you are. But if you got like this glamazon photo from like 1985, where you're wearing a suit and tie and you're 50 years old, or your high school pic, I mean, gentlemen, if you're 40 years old, I don't want to see a picture of you when you were 18. Like, you know, let's retire those photos. But like the overly business suit, okay, maybe that looks good if you're a realtor, but really for a dating profile, it's a little weird. Again, I know men are awkward, so I do give them a lot of graces. But when they put themselves where they're always wearing a hat in every photo, it's like, okay. And they don't mention if they're bald or balding. Again, it's not, I'm not being shallow, but it's a turnoff, right? Because then we're guessing, right?
Again, this is a Seinfeld episode reference. We said
Well,
we'd have one for each episode, and here it is. There's an episode where George and Elaine, they go to a flea market and George buys a hat and he loves the
mhm.
hat. But he's like, I absolutely don't want to meet a woman wearing a hat because I don't want to see the disappointment when I take the hat off.
Right, right. So it's kind of like, we don't know what's going on underneath the hat. Now, this is something for me, it's a deal breaker. When you're 45 or 50 and you're wearing your baseball cap backwards and you're doing this in the mirror,
Oh,
what is
no.
If you're not a 15-year-old girl, no
Please
duck
no.
faces, no peace signs, no backward baseball caps. We don't need to see it. Okay? So again, the group photos where you don't know who the person is wearing a hat, the old photos from high school, the blurry photo, the no photo. You're not James Bond. You're not so important that you can't be on match with one photo. Okay. I don't like, because to me, they're hiding something. There's something that's not, I'm not trusting this person. It's making me nervous. The other thing I don't like is the no bio. They go, ask me.
Yeah.
No, it's called swipe right or left, whatever it is. No, I don't want to ask you. So when you put in your bio, ask me, because you're so mysterious.
And you're
It's
so
no.
busy.
Yeah, you're so busy, right? No, vague bio or just ask me. Don't like that crap at
That's
all.
making the woman do the legwork.
It is. It is. The other thing that I don't like in profiles is when they immediately put all the things they're looking for in a woman, and it's like a laundry list. Can't 5'6", can't weigh over 125 pounds. Sir, have you looked in the mirror? Have you looked in the mirror with your bald head and your red Corvette? If you're 5'6", must not weigh more than 140. Must be this, must be that. And they have like this laundry list that they want for their women. And you're looking at them going, no, I don't like that, right? Here's another red flag that I've noticed. No drama. They immediately lead with no drama. I'm a no drama person. If you're full of drama, swipe left. Well, if that's what you're leading with, that means 100% that's who you are and that's what you attract. Why is that your leading?
Or you're avoidant. As soon as someone brings up like, hey, I don't like that this was said, or you treat, well, this is too much drama for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. But the people who lead with no drama are always the people who have drama. The other red flag in the bio is people who say there aren't any real women on here. Are there any good women left? It's like, the
Ooh,
negative,
that's a pessimistic attitude.
very pessimistic attitude, right? So you either have the laundry list, what they're looking for. I don't do drama, but they're all about drama, or very pessimistic, very negative. Like I had one guy who was like, the first time I talked to him, all he did was talk negatively about women on the app. And I'm like, I'm literally trying to talk to you, trying to get to know you, and all you're doing is bitching about all your past dates that were horrendous, which, gotta be honest, was a turnoff.
Yeah.
And he was wearing a hat the whole time in all his photos. So I was like, uh, yeah. So I don't like the guys who are vague, who don't share information, don't give out information, etc. So now that we're past the profile red flags, the next red flag is the guy who's very vague on his information. Doesn't give out a lot of information about himself, kind of short answers, doesn't share his name, his socials. He's Mr. Mystery Man, Mr. 007. I don't like those types of men. What do you think about that? Like men who are very vague.
I need clarity. And I actually, one of the sweaters I made merch, it says consistency is clarity. And I want clarity. I I want to ask a question and I want the response to answer my question. I don't want to dig around. So yeah, that's a red flag.
So what do you have that's a red flag for you in the beginning stages?
I actually have two off the top of my head. The first is the guy that's trying to get you off the app.
Right.
Texting, WhatsApp, whatever. To
Mm-hmm.
me, that is scammer energy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's happened to me before and I've been like, and I caught it
Mm-hmm.
really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing, and it's the biggest tip I can give you, is as early as possible, say no. And the earliest time to do this is when they're asking you to get off the app. If you're not comfortable, say no. They have three reactions they can have. They can either try to force you. So this is someone that is ignoring your boundaries. They can either accept it or they get angry. So just that response to that first no tells you everything.
Okay, but here's my thing. If you're on a dating app and you have to pay, I don't like to constantly just be in the app and have my only communication be the app. So if you've been talking to someone for a couple of days and you feel comfortable with them, do you feel comfortable at that point giving them your phone number or your WhatsApp? Because you don't want to just be always messaging in the dating app.
I think after a first date, maybe.
Okay. Okay.
But before the first date, I don't know this person. I don't want them to have my phone number.
Okay, so you don't give out that information. Okay, see, for me, I do, depending on the person. But again, if you don't like the person and they turn out to be weird and they have your phone number, you have to block them. So for me, there's the love bombing is another red flag. I've had it where men, they profess their love for you immediately, and then after like 1 or 2 dates, they immediately want to make you exclusive, where you're not dating anyone else. Like they immediately want to put a lid on it, which is great. However, sometimes after 2 dates, that's not really enough time to get into a committed relationship, and they get really angry if you're like, they're like, let's get off the app. They try to get you to agree, let's both get off the app and just date each other. You've had 2 dates, coffee and lunch. To me, that's like not enough time. And so a lot of times they try to rush their relationship really early on. Have you had any experience with that?
This is how I got married. This was the playbook
Okay.
exactly.
Uh-oh.
And that's why wisdom comes with age, and I will not fall for this next time. To me, actually, it's like nails on a chalkboard when this happens now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
look, I know I'm awesome, but you haven't known me long enough to know that I'm awesome.
Right.
Like the compliments aren't valuable if you've just met me. I want you to know me and then tell me I'm awesome. Because then
Right.
you have data and evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. The other one is when they're sending you these really weird generic like copy and paste messages, like good morning beautiful, and you kind of feel like they could just be sending that to anybody, where they're not really paying attention to things you told them about yourself. You're having to repeat yourself, and they send you very generic messages. Like it's almost like copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. I've had someone send me a message with someone else's name on it before. And then they sent me the same message 5 minutes later. And it was like, I think he didn't realize he had texted me and not this Amanda chick. And then 2 minutes later sent me with my name on it the exact message.
So this happened to me once where the person really wanted to get me off the app.
Yeah.
And this is where my life lessons come from because I've experienced it. So I got off the app and got on WhatsApp. And I noticed they would ask me a question and they would send me a response that was really long. Like there's no way they could have typed that out in the moment of time. So I was like, this seems like a script. And
Yeah.
then they gave me information about the time zone they were in. And they told me they couldn't sleep all night because they were thinking of me all night. But because I knew the time zone they claimed to be in, I'm like, it hasn't been night there yet.
Uh-huh.
So I called them out on it. And I ended up like telling them I don't want to talk to them anymore. And they got really mad and started texting me really, really nasty stuff. And then I noticed their account was a WhatsApp business account. Do you know
Mm,
what the difference is between a regular
I
WhatsApp account?
don't. Don't.
The difference is you can send money to a WhatsApp business account. This
Uh,
was a scammer. They have a script. They know you're vulnerable. So I did a video
uh,
on this on my Revealing the Narc channel. There's a lot of similarities between cluster B personalities on dating apps and scammers on dating apps. They use that same love bombing technique to
mhm.
get vulnerable people on on the hook, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you have the people who refuse video calls and they refuse phone calls.
Hmm.
Yeah. They just want to text. So
Hmm.
that's a red flag to me. If you don't want to talk on the phone, again, are you a scammer? Do you have an accent? Do you live in a foreign country? Do you not speak English? What's going on? And a lot of times, if I'm texting someone and they have broken English and they make phrases that don't make sense, that kind of goes into the scammer thing where they don't want to talk on the phone and they're at a faraway location. A big scammer is the people who pretend to be widowers and they're in the military and they're stationed overseas. That's
Mhm.
a big red flag. That's a big scam that for whatever reason these people think that all these women are falling in love with these military men and they don't have very many photos and they live overseas and they're just texting you and it's destiny, but they can never talk on the phone, they can never do a video, they only send you the same one photo and they just want to text. And then they have broken English or the phrases don't make sense to what you're talking about. That's how you can tell it's a scammer, because they're just trying to send you, like you said, those text of paragraphs that they already have written up. And to me, that's a really big red flag. Another big red flag.
Michelle, can I say something really quick too?
Yeah.
Because you triggered something in
Okay.
me. The opposite spectrum of that is a red flag as well. And immediately I think of Harry and Meghan. So at this point, Harry and Meghan had already been on one date. And he went, and this is according to him in his book Spare. Harry's at his friend's house. The date had just finished.
Yes.
Without a text message, without anything, she FaceTimes him.
That's
So
so,
if someone yeah, like, you don't just FaceTime someone that you don't know, you arrange the call.
yeah.
So to me, that is a boundary. I mean, maybe it's different for different people, but for me, that's a boundary violation. This is someone who thinks that I willy-nilly can answer the phone at any time. If you wanna FaceTime me, text me and say, "Are you available to FaceTime?"
That's
It's
so intrusive and to boundary to expect someone to have a video call. That happened to me once. I was talking to a guy, and then one day he just starts to try to get me on Facebook, and it was camera. And I'm like, what are you doing? I don't want to talk. I barely know you, and you're calling me on the camera. It's immediate no. Don't
yeah.
like that. Nobody likes, unless you were talking previously on the camera. It was during the day when I was at work. It was so rude and
Mhm,
intrusive that he just tried to put the camera on me. I didn't like that at all. That's
mhm.
very, really weird. The other thing is the breadcrumbing, where they randomly will say, hey, like there's no effort in the text messages. The messages are usually late at night, not a lot of substance, not a lot of effort, and they're very few and far between where you'll hear from them one day and then you don't hear anything for 2 days. And then they send you a hey, like 10 p.m., like on the third day. And it's like, no, 10 o'clock at night, I'm in bed, I'm tired. I don't have time for, hey, what are you doing? Right? Those 10 o'clock text messages are no go for me. And then another red flag is when they get too sexual, too
Oh,
sensitive,
no. Mm-mm.
when they want to send you the dick pic.
Oh, no,
Or,
no,
yep, yep,
no,
that's an immediate cutoff for
no,
me. Yes. Just so you guys know, unsolicited dick pics are not wanted
no,
by any
no,
woman ever.
no.
I don't care how good looking you are, or you think you are, or how great you are downstairs. Just trust no woman wants an unsolicited dick pic
No.
ever.
Mm-mm.
Because let's be real, penises aren't really good looking.
I just feel like that is such another, like, no,
The
okay?
guys would probably like unsolicited naked pics of women because they're always asking for pics, always. But that's not the same for women. It is not the same.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So we don't want the dick pic. We don't
I
want
literally,
you
if I
sexual.
did start online dating,
Mm-hmm.
if I get this any hint of a sexual innuendo, out.
Yes. There's
Out.
nothing
And I'm
cringy
not even gonna
about.
give them a chance to explain themselves
Yeah.
because they're lying. They're trying to see how much can they do before you say, "Hey, that's weird," and then and then they gaslight you like, "No, that's not what I meant." So I'm telling all of you out there right now, if I decide to online date, which I probably won't, the hint the hint of anything sexual, I'm out. Done. That is something that's earned, okay? Those types of conversations are intimate and they take time to build, and it's not gonna happen that easily. So, there it is. And for each woman, it's different when that time happens. Even for me, it's probably different based on where I am in my life at that moment, how I feel with the person at the moment. So, There it
Right.
is.
Like I said, I don't feel this type of conversation needs to be happening in the beginning stages of dating on a text or even on a phone call. That's something you talk about maybe after you decided to be exclusive and you're in a relationship. But again, I've had several people who they immediately want your whole life story within 5 minutes, asking you very personal questions that you haven't even had a first date.
Mhm.
That's the other thing. I don't like the endless 20 questions. And then they always try to ask for more pics. And then they always try to get to the sex talk, right? And we haven't even had coffee, haven't even had the first date, but they want to know everything up front on a silver platter. It's like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not sharing that with the person. I don't even know if that's your picture, right? Because again, you haven't met them in person. There's no FaceTime. May or may not talked on the phone. I'm not going to sit here endlessly giving you all of my personal information on a text message. I just don't feel comfortable with that. And men, they ask very personal questions and they always go to the sex. If they go to the sex, like you said, I'm just not done because that tells you everything you need to know. That's all they want. Because if a man's really interested in dating you, that's going to go toward a relationship or marriage, they're not going to bring up the sex immediately.
So I do want to say also that I can tell I've come a long way in my own healing journey because I would much rather now have someone who has very little conversation with me through the dating app and is intentional about setting a date
Yes,
rather than someone who is just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth talking without any intentionality of it moving forward.
that's right.
That's
There's
a
a lot of
big
people
difference.
they just want to talk for weeks, and we like because I was like that too. I want to build a slow. We get to know each other. You text each other every day. You wake up in the morning, good morning, beautiful, and you have these nice little conversations, and you're just enjoying your time. But you're actually becoming pen pals. They're not making any effort to date you, to bring you off the phone to in person. And you can spend a month chatting with this person every day. And we build false connections. Women do with these, oh my God, he's so great. I used to think that was wonderful. But you know what would happen? They would never ask me out. And then after a month or two, he would stop texting or I would stop texting because I was kind of getting tired of it. So I just wasted 2 months filling up this guy's time with my energy and my conversation, but he never would ask me out. So in a way, that's kind of like a breadcrumber in a way, you know what I mean? That they would just talk and talk and talk and never date. So I think I agree with you that after like one or two phone conversations, you should immediately have a coffee date
Yeah.
to kind of just make
And
sure there's chemistry.
and also it used to be that the good morning and good night texts were very important to me. Not anymore.
Not for casual dating.
It's
No.
nice.
Yeah.
It's nice, but if that's all I'm getting, no.
Exactly.
It's not enough. It's not enough. It used to be enough for me to, like you said, to be it used to be enough to keep breadcrumbing me, but
Uh-huh.
no longer.
So that is all the red flags that I have for online dating. But Tiffany, do you have any experiences or things that you changed your mind on when it comes to online dating? Like you said, things that you used to do that now you don't want to do. What do you have? Some recommendations?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a story,
Okay.
and it's a good one.
Okay.
It's a juicy story, and, um, lessons were learned.
Oh.
And at this point that this happened, I was already kind of on my healing journey, and you can tell that. So, I met this guy on a dating app, and he seemed great. We were talking, and we maybe met on a Sunday or a Monday, and we made arrangements for a date the following Saturday.
Mhm.
First red flag. I I asked him how tall he was,
Oh
and
no.
he's like, because his profile said 5'10", and I'm like, I was like, "Are you really 5'10"? He's like, "Why, is that important to you?" And I was like, "No, I just wanna know what shoes to wear." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm 5'10". So I went to Aldo, and I bought the biggest platform heels you've ever seen.
Now,
Like,
how tall are you?
I'm 5'4", and I
Okay.
bought, like, 4-inch platform heels, beautiful shoes, okay? Show up to the date. Girl, he's like chest height. Like, like honestly, I would rather have come in flats. Okay? Like, I wouldn't have cared. At least I'd be comfortable. But I'm in these platform wedges. Come on.
So how did he come up with 5'10" if he was clearly not 5'10"?
Because he was lying. So
Maybe
red
measured
flag number 1.
centimeters.
Red flag number 1. Then we were talking and he said he told me what city he lived in,
Okay.
and he also told me that he was going to go to church the next day. And then we ended our date. I had met him on Bumble. I get home and I get an alert from Hinge, and it's a different age. So now, lie number 2, he lied about his age. Okay. Lie number 3, he told me he lived in one city, like in the same city I live in, but the idiot didn't turn off his location on the dating app. He didn't live in the city. He
Oh my,
lived a half an hour away. Lie
oh my,
number 3.
oh my
And the
God.
4th and final lie, this was the last one. I asked him, "Hey, did you?" Oh, and then he kind of gaslit me because
Right.
"Did you know it was me when you liked me on Hinge?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course I did." And I was like, "Well, it kind of hurts my feelings. We went on a first date and you automatically open your dating app." And he was like, "Well, you opened your dating app." I'm like, "Yeah, because I got an alert from you. I wasn't going to open it." So, like, train wreck, like, lie. And the last lie, when I was like, this, I already was, after the first lie, I was already teetering.
Mhm.
But the last lie, I asked him, "Hey, did you go to church?" And he's like, "Yeah, I did." But I knew he hadn't because I know what time the services are, and he had his location on, and he didn't leave his house. And I was like, "Oh, what was the sermon about?" And he's like, "It doesn't matter what the sermon was about." I'm like, "Excuse me, sir? I thought you went to church. Just tell me what it was about. Let's talk about it." So that was that.
Mm. Well, I have a
At least,
dating story to tell
at
you.
least I got some cute heels out of it.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right. Well, I have a funny dating story of a guy I was meeting online. So we were talking for a couple of weeks, and I wasn't really into him. Okay, I liked another guy, but doing the online dating, he kind of sounded like he had golf balls in his mouth, but whatever. I'm like, okay, not being too picky. So we were going to plan our date. And he kept saying he wanted to go to a bar because he was trying to watch, I think it was like a basketball game or something. And I was like, yeah, no, for a first date, I really don't want to go to this bar. I prefer to have dinner or coffee or something so we could talk. And he was like, oh, okay. I really want to watch the game. So he kept bitching about this stupid game. And so finally, I was like, no, I really don't want to have a date in a bar where you're just watching a basketball game because you're not paying attention. We're not talking. So finally, he agrees that we're going to have a date, dinner. But I knew in the back of my mind, he did not want to do that. And I thought to myself, you know what? I bet you anything he's going to either not show up or ditch me. So I made a backup plan with my sister to go to the movies at 9 o'clock. Our date was at 7. Sure enough, 7 o'clock rolls around, no phone call, no text. And I was like, okay. I knew in the back of my mind this is going to happen. So this is hilarious. So he ghosted me, right? Sunday morning, I get a message. Hey. And he's like, I'm really sorry, but my aunt died and I had to fly to New York City for the funeral. And I'm like, oh, so she died on Friday and you immediately flew to New York City and they had the funeral Sunday. That's really quick. Your aunt died and you had a funeral and it's over now. And I said, and he had the nerve to say, yeah, would you like to go out Sunday? And I was like, no, I don't believe that your aunt died. And he was shocked that I was like, no, you lied to me. You wanted to watch the basketball game. That was more important to you than our date. So clearly you made up the story about your aunt dying and you flying to New York City and having the funeral within 2 days. I mean, that's the fastest funeral I've ever heard of. Hey, we need to call them for the funeral business. I mean, it takes a week or two, as far as I've known, to plan funerals. But he literally, he was shocked that I wasn't buying his lie and that I wouldn't give him a second chance. So it was just the funniest thing because I kind of knew in the back of my mind this guy really wanted to watch the basketball game. And we could have had the date on Sunday. He didn't have to agree to it. So the fact that he kept arguing with me, I'm like, he's going to ditch me. But just the lie that he made up about his aunt dying and him having to fly to New York, that he couldn't have sent a text on Friday, hey, I had a family emergency. Nothing. No message the whole weekend until Sunday. And he thought I would be available for a date. So men are very bad liars.
What in the world?
It's a funny story, but I mean, at the time I was like, are you serious? I wasted 3 weeks talking to this Yahoo.
And like, you want to go watch the game? Go watch the game. We'll go out another time.
Yes.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, those are funny stories. But
I'm
you guys
sure
like,
I have more. I mean, I can't think off the top of my head, but when we were discussing this topic, that was the story that came to mind. I was like, dude, that was like 5 red flags in a row. And it's so important. I'm always so thankful when these things are revealed early. Like,
Mhm.
let me know either before the
Yes.
first date or at the first date. Let me see it clearly.
Well, let me tell you how you knew how I knew that guy was going to cancel on me. I was reading the dating book, Why Men Love Bitches. I'm telling you guys, it's kind of like he's just not that into you, but it teaches you to be your own woman, to pick up on signs, and to not fall for a man. Don't make the man the center of your universe. And it's called Why Men Love Bitches. But you're really not a bitch. You're just a woman who puts herself first. I tell y'all, I recommend this book to every woman. Why Men Love Bitches. It's going to save you so much time weeding
We
out
should do
the
a book
losers.
club.
Yes, weeding out the losers and the red flags. And so I knew instantly with that man who kept arguing with me over the date that he was going to ditch me for the game. And then the lie was hilarious because I knew he was full of crap. Okay. But I'm telling you guys, go get that book. Let me know if you've read
Let's
the
do a
book.
book club.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me know if you read the book. Yeah.
Because I really want to read it. And it would be
It's
interesting
a
to have.
really good book. It's a really good book. It's an old book. It's been around for a while, but I'm telling you, you're going to save so much time. So, you guys, let us know in the comments any red flags you have for online dating. If you have any funny dating stories, leave them in the comments. If you've read the book Why Men Love Bitches, or if you have any recommendations for any dating books, let us know. Maybe we'll do an episode talking about the top tips that how women can reclaim their black cat feminine energy and teach these men how to treat us like a princess. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.